So I wanted to just show you some features of HTML as you're creating your posts. I know you have already created posts in my class in week 1, some of you, and also a few times in Christina's 101 lecture, but I wanted to show you a couple of kind of fun features that you may or may not know about already. So when you open up your actual groups, you'll see that your HTML bar or posting area sometimes you open it up and it's blocked like this. You can open it up and it just gives you a lot more options and features, which is pretty nice. I just want to kind of just show you briefly how I've used it. So you want to put in your subject or your topic. Which I just deleted mine. So that's a nice feature to go ahead and you want to make sure you get your title in. So if I'm doing my post on, for example, overuse injuries, I would go ahead and click in my title so it's very clear what I'm doing so the reader can follow it along. So here's my title. And then what the nice thing too is you can copy and paste. So let's say if you're doing the first one, for example, and you have in a Word document or somewhere else kind of typed it together, you can just copy and paste it over in. It won't look exactly the same, but it won't be too different. So actually that looks pretty attractive. HTML feature has improved over the years. So you can insert pictures too. You don't have to use pictures, as I said, but let's say you want a picture. What I found is easier for me is I use my screenshot, and I take a picture of the picture I've stored on my computer, and then I can edit it a little bit in terms of the size, and then I can pull it over, and that works pretty nicely. That way you're not having to struggle with necessarily the size or it's showing up rotated, right? And I certainly can make my picture smaller if I wanted to using this feature. But I'm pretty happy with the size. I think actually I may make it a little bit smaller. If you change that, it's going to shift over here to reduce the size as well. You can decide where to align it. Say I want to align it to the left. And you can put a caption if you want to make it more accessible. But here's my feature or my picture. And my pictures of specifically, I was looking at my dental office and being a little spy and deciding that his dental office sink was not universal design. This is what I do with my life, right? Never off the job. So with that, I can go ahead and go down and post more information as I want to on my discussion post. So that's how you can modify, change images, add images. This feature here, I just made it bigger, so I have more room to work now. Just kind of a nice thing, right? Then you can make it smaller again. I like to use a wider screen. It works better for me. And again, I can modify my image if I want to by highlighting it and then going back up to the image feature, which is up here, the little picture window. Change my preview, make it smaller. And this time I'm going to put it in the middle. So now I have a much smaller image to work with, which is a larger image. So I can go down and type my next sentence. Another feature that's very nice in this too is you can highlight and put little web links in there too. Like if I want to something specific to the forum page, I can do a web link and then type in, for example, a YouTube video or something to enrich my post. You don't have to do all these things, but I'm just letting you know these features that exist. I can also create a table. If I'm doing a table, and you can set your table how large you want to make it. I have found that making my own tables within the HTML is actually easier than copying and pasting. Sometimes that can be a little messy and it doesn't paste quite the same way that I want it to. So those are the features I probably use most, and certainly you can add bullets if you want to. Let's say I want to add a bullet to this, my name. You can highlight and just add a bullet. You can move the bullet to the left or the right using this feature. I can center if I want to center, or just go back to where it was. So if ever you don't like what you're doing, just click what you just did and it takes it right back, which is another cool feature. You can create font size here, however big you want your font. I went smaller. You don't want to get smaller than, I would say if you're getting into size 11 or 10, that's way too small, and that's not universal design, as we'll talk more next term. That is just hard to see visually. I tend to like to go a little bit larger for that universal design, so I can capture those that may have difficulty seeing in different light, for example. I wouldn't get too creative on your font. You only have 6 different choices in HTML and Moodle. So I just pick what you like, and so that's your bold, your italicize, your you can number versus using bullets. Then you can change color if you want. But I don't want you getting too creative with this. I'd rather just have, you're not going to be graded on creativity and how many pictures you have, how many columns you have, but sometimes presentation-wise it's just a lot easier to follow. And if it's really hard to follow what you're putting, think of it as some instructions or a summary that you're going to be sharing with your care team, like at work. And you want to make sure they can follow it. Again, I'm not grading on the actual alignment, but a viewer needs to be able to follow it along and not get lost in the details. So in other words, having a real tiny picture or having really bold, unnecessary things that are bold colored or underlined, or using a feature that doesn't make any sense, that's what would be a problem. But again, you just need to summarize your material, and you don't need to get fancy. But I did want to show you some of the features of the HTML editor that you may want to use in the future.